There are those who make sense of the world through order, through labels, through agreements passed down by consensus. And then there is another kind. The kind who does not need permission to name what is seen, nor apology for what is felt. This kind does not arrive on time, nor late, but always when the moment is ripe. This kind walks through the fire sideways, humming a strange tune. This is Outlaw Creative. Outlaw Creative is not a slogan. It is not a mood. It is not a lifestyle. It is a topology of the soul, an arrangement of orientation toward meaning that refuses to be placed neatly inside the categories offered by mass consciousness. It sees the world differently, not for the sake of being different, but because the angle is real. The light hits a certain way. A geometry is revealed. And what is this geometry? It is not the geometry of the classroom, of the fixed theorem or the predictable equation. No, it is the geometry of life, of irregularities that form a deeper harmony. It is the curve that speaks of grace, the asymmetry that reveals balance, the jagged edge that holds beauty. The geometry of life makes no promise to make things easy. It promises only to make things true. Those who walk under the name Outlaw Creative have learned that the true work is not to convince the world, but to stay faithful to the line that burns through their own being. This line may not be visible to others. It may never be applauded, but it is real, and it must be followed. There are many who mistake creativity for decoration. They see it as flair, as accessory, as the unnecessary flourish atop a practical world. But Outlaw Creative knows otherwise. Creativity in this form is not ornament. It is blade. It cuts through illusion. It carves space for the sacred to breathe. It makes room in a crowded world for the soul to step forward. The outlaw is not angry. The outlaw is awake. And this difference matters. Anger burns out. Awakening burns through. Outlaw Creative is not merely reactionary. It does not oppose for the sake of opposition. It reveals what the world forgot to see. It names what others were too afraid to name. It paints on surfaces deemed too holy to touch, and sings in rooms where silence was once enforced. Geometry, when truly lived, is not about angles. It is about seeing how things fit together, and how some things do not. It is about pattern and rupture, about continuity and surprise. The geometry of life is the understanding that the spiral is more natural than the straight line, and that truth often arrives through detour, through disruption, through exile. Outlaw Creative carries exile as a garment, not with shame, but with quiet clarity. Not all who are cast out were wrong. Some were simply early. Some saw through the veil and spoke before the world was ready. Geometry in this case is not only the shape of things, it is also the timing of their revelation. There is, within this movement, a refusal to lie, not just with words, but with structure. Outlaw Creative will not build a house with crooked beams and pretend it is stable. It will tear it down and begin again. It will choose silence over spectacle, waiting over false arrival. The work is patient, the line is exacting, and still there is joy. Not the joy of noise, but the joy of recognition. When the right form is found, when the strange word fits, when the edge that did not seem to belong finds its place in the mosaic. The outlaw does not need to be understood to feel joy. The geometry of life provides its own approval, its own strange applause. To create under this name is to stand at a different kind of drafting table, one that is invisible to most, one that rests not on four legs, but on the fire within, the wound remembered, the dream unshaken. It is a station of alignment, a place where the unseen shapes of meaning can be brought into the light without distortion. Outlaw Creative does not move quickly, nor slowly. It moves when the line is clear. It moves when the impulse to speak becomes unbearable. It moves when the silence becomes too loud to ignore. It does not follow trends, it follows tremors. The geometry of life is in everything, in the way two people meet, in the hesitation before a confession, in the long silence that says more than words, in the crack of dawn, the crook of an elbow, the closing of a door. It is not distant, it is not abstract, it is here, it is everywhere. But only some will see it. Only some will live by it. Those who do are not seeking titles. They are not looking for fame. They are tracking a line, a sacred, invisible line. And when that line is followed, when it is honored, the world rearranges itself. Not all at once, not always kindly, but undeniably. Outlaw Creative is the name given to those who keep drawing that line, no matter what.